Hello everybody and Merry Christmas. Hope you guys had a fun time watching the Christmas special this year, and sadly it's ending once again. But we're going out with a bang, with this being my biggest video yet. Over a year ago, me and a bunch of other Godzilla YouTubers went over and explained every Godzilla's atomic breath, and at that point that was my biggest collab on my entire channel. But today we will be breaking that. I've gathered 10 Godzilla creators to help me explain every mainline Godzilla's origin story, from his movies, from 1954 to Hanna-Barbera to even Singular Point. Today we're explaining every Godzilla origin story. So grab your cup of hot chocolate, grab your Christmas cookies and presents, and I hope you guys have an amazing Christmas, as today we'll be hearing every Godzilla's origin story. Hey everybody, back again, and Merry Christmas. The first Godzilla we're going over is Godzilla from 1954, otherwise known as the first generation Showa era Godzilla. Now in the film, doctors propose many different origins for Godzilla, some of them referring to him as an ancient creature that was awakened by the hydrogen bomb and rained havoc on Japan in a fit of rage, while others propose that the hydrogen bomb it destroyed his home and ended up causing his reign of terror. But there is one of these origins that I find to be the most canon. In the book, the definitive edition Godzilla introduction made by Tomoyuki Tanaka, that included artwork from him depicting a bunch of Godzillas living underwater and having their habitat destroyed and almost wiping out the entire species. But it's suspected that some of them may have survived by Yamane, which we later learned is true. That there were at least 2 Godzillas that survived, in my opinion, is probably the best origin for 1954 Godzilla, as it explains a lot of stuff that happens later in the Showa era continuity, such as new Godzilla showing up in raids again, and how Manila is able to exist. Well guys, hope you have an amazing Christmas, and I'll let Starzilla explain the rest of the Showa era.
Hey everyone, it's Starzilla here. Let's cut to the chase. Who is 1955 Godzilla? Although Godzilla Raids Again is a sequel to the first film in 54, 55 Godzilla is not the same Godzilla. Rather another Gojira discovered by Shiochi and Koji, with the same origins as 54 Godzilla. In this film, 55 Godzilla combats another monster named Anguirus. The two monsters clash throughout Japan, but in the end, JSDF managed to bury Godzilla alive under ice on their remote island. 7 years later, Godzilla would escape his frosty prison and face King Kong. After that, he would appear in the later Showa films, from Monsterverse Godzilla to Terror of Megagodzilla, dominating the entire Showa era. And that's it. Thank you, LizardBoyG, for inviting me into this video, and Merry Christmas to all. Now please let me out of your basement.
Ho ho! Merry Christmas everyone. LizardBoyG invited me to be a part of this video, so let's get started! I'll be telling y'all about the film from 1967, Son of Godzilla! Anyway, let's get on with it. In the film Son of Godzilla in 1967, we are first introduced to the fan-favorite character, Manila! Yay! Let's go over his origins. One day, there was a giant storm and it took his egg up to this random island. Coincidentally, this random island was having tests on it, causing the egg to radiate and possibly give it life after it was washed up. It was then covered by a bunch of rocks and rubble. These 3 Kamakuras come over and dig up the egg in hopes of finding something to eat. They begin to crack the egg open and successfully do. But when the egg hatches, they are introduced to lovely, ugly baby Godzilla. Manila is now here, and these 3 Kamakuras begin to try and eat him by using their appendages, poking him repeatedly. Thankfully, Manila is smart enough to call out for help, but who comes to rescue him? The king of the monsters, of course. He rushes over to save his new adopted son from these 3 predators. He throws one over his shoulder, slamming it into the ground. It soon gets up, and its brothers fly at him. Godzilla uses his atomic breath and shoots one of them down. The other 2 lunge again, but Godzilla dodges, and the bug jumps back at Godzilla. Godzilla catches it mid-jump and slams it into the ground repeatedly until it's dead, and then burns the corpse, showing dominance as the last remaining praying mantis retreats. Godzilla lays out his thick tail for Manila to grab onto, so they can head to the safer area. That was where we met Manila. I appreciate the one and only LizardBoyG for having me on this episode. I hope y'all have a blessed Christmas. That's Dinozilla 2009 signing out. Later! Lizard? Hello? Can I come out your basement now? I did the Christmas video. Hello?
Hey everybody, and I'm back here to talk about Hanna-Barbera Godzilla and Godzuki, because they're in the same universe, so we're just gonna put them together. Now, me myself, a self-proclaimed Godzilla fan, hasn't seen the Hanna-Barbera series, besides like a couple episodes. So I went to Wikizilla to find info for these two, but there really wasn't anything. I presume that when they were making the series, they didn't really consider giving them an origin story, but from what I could find, this is all I could come up with. Now, it's been stated that Godzuki's relationship to Godzilla is that he's actually his nephew, meaning that Godzilla had a brother, and with that information, we could presume that Godzilla had a bunch of other relatives that were eradicated at some point, leaving just the two, I'm guessing. That's all I could find. I ain't gonna lie. I know it's very disappointing. If you guys know any more information, or if you want to forcefully tell me to go watch the series, I might. Anyway, let's leave Heisei Godzilla to Noxmer, my friend.
What happened now? My daddy happy. Mama called me up, that money coming, and she let me out and made it now.
Hello everyone, and Merry Christmas to you all. I am Noxmer6, and today I wanted to thank LizardBoy for having me on this video. So, without much further, this era has two versions of Godzilla. The first one being the version from 1984, who was awakened from a volcanic eruption and nuclear testing done by the Soviets. At the time this movie was released, this was the biggest Godzilla we had seen ever. While this Godzilla does not actually die, he does end up being lured and trapped into a volcano during its eruption. The Godzilla that appears more throughout this era is the 1989 through 1995 version. This Godzilla started off as a dinosaur named Godzillasaurus and was found on an island named Lagos Island in 1944 by a group of explorers. An alien race named the Futurians who captured him and released him into the Bering Sea, where they thought he would end up passing away from drowning. But this dinosaur had other plans and ended up feeding on radiation and turning into a 260-foot behemoth that we know as Godzilla. This Godzilla also has an adopted juvenile son nicknamed Godzilla Jr., who will be getting a full rundown later in the video. But going back to Godzilla, after his fight with Biollante, he disappears for 2 years, lurking and growing bigger and stronger. In his next appearance, he is much stronger and much bigger. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, this once 40-foot tall dinosaur ended up turning into one of the most iconic Godzillas of all time.
Today, we're going to be talking about the history of Baby Godzilla, aka Little Godzilla, aka Godzilla Jr. Baby Godzilla's first appearance was in a movie called Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, which is one of my favorite Godzilla movies ever. It's top 3 for me. Baby Godzilla's story begins on an island where an egg is found by the main characters. The main characters believe that this is a Rodan egg, but anyways, they decide to bring this egg back home, and then Godzilla and Rodan are having a custody battle over the egg as Baby gets kidnapped, so that's cool. It's brought back home safely and with no cracks, and it opens up. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. Have a Merry Christmas, and I'll see you guys all.
Oh, like, this is what you want to do, right?
What happened now? My daddy happy. Mama called me up, that money coming, and she let me out and made it now.
So, love it or hate it, 1998 Godzilla is Godzilla. In 1968, during the French nuclear test near Polynesia, an iguana was exposed to these nuclear tests and grew over 30 years. This little 3-foot iguana turned into a massive kaiju over the span of 30 years. This Godzilla ends up meeting his inevitable fate on the Brooklyn Bridge while being tangled by the bridge's cables. Well, guys, my part has come to an end, and I would like to thank LizardBoy for having me on this video. I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Yeah, guys, see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Hello, I'm back here to talk about the second Zilla of the Godzilla TriStar series, who in my opinion is more deserving of the Godzilla animated series, Godzilla. In the film Godzilla 1998, the main thing that Godzilla was doing was trying to reproduce, and hatched a bunch of eggs, but was eventually destroyed, but one was left that Nick finds later on. And throughout the TV show, Godzilla gains an attachment to Nick, and basically becomes his best friend, leaving them and their team against a bunch of kaiju that have now awakened, helping them against a bunch of other kaiju that have now awakened. Anyway guys, and Merry Christmas, and I'll let the other guys continue it. I'll let my friend Ken Guy explain to start off the Millennium Era.
Hello everybody, I'm the Chem Guy. I've finally been released from LizardBoy's basement. Still recovering from my YouTube channel's loss, but today we're talking about
Godzilla 2000.
So with no further ado, let's begin. After the events of Godzilla 1954, a new Godzilla rises, called Godzilla 2000. And has been causing destruction for Japan sometime prior to the film's events, according to the Godzilla JP Toho. So yeah, that's mostly it for Godzilla 2000 Origins. He doesn't have much. I mean, I guess you could say for something that's non-origin-y is that the UFOs use his DNA to create Orga, and he later kills Orga in the film. So yeah. Anyways, I've been the Chem Guy. Peace out and have a good Christmas.
Hi, my name is Saltman, and if you watch a lot of Goji Guy streams, then you probably know about me. But let's talk about Megaguirus Goji. This Godzilla is literally just the 1954 Godzilla, so you should pretty much know everything about that. We need to bring up one of the most drastic differences about this Godzilla. He never died. In this world, Dr. Serizawa never killed Godzilla. This allowed Godzilla to come back in Japan in 1966, and this forced Japan to switch to a plasma-based energy source. But when the movie occurs, Godzilla is able to absorb the plasma-based energy. And yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not a lot of war with this Godzilla, so on the GMK.
Guys, this is Mr. Zilla here. LizardBoy invited me in this Christmas special, talking about each Godzilla's origin story, in the movie of course. This Godzilla I'll be talking about is the GMK version. Without further ado, let's talk about his origins. Godzilla is a supernatural entity by a bunch of restless souls who were sadly killed in the Pacific Theater, which, I hope I correct that right, and it's a bomb during World War II. Godzilla wanted revenge on Japan for forgetting and ignoring the dark past and the tragic event, which leads to the whole situation, which Godzilla is destroying cities, yada yada yada. And then a character named Hiroshi Yasema summoned 3 guardian kaijus, which are Baragon, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, in hopes to protect their country and defend them, which at the end doesn't work. 3 of them get killed instantly. But GMK loses at the end by getting killed by a drill missile and tries to use his atomic breath, but he dies due to the drill missile damaging him, which he explodes in the end. Which that is all I have to say about his origins and his defeat, of course. And that's all I have to say. Thank you, LizardBoyG, for inviting me in this special. Hope you guys have a good Christmas and a New Year's. I'll see you guys later.
Hello everybody, Chem Guy, I'm back. What a surprise. But we'll be talking about Kiryu's origins, Kiryu Goji's origins for this part of the video. So with no further ado, let's begin. The Kiryu series Godzilla is another member of the same species as the original Godzilla that attacked Tokyo in 1954. He first appeared in 1999 when he came ashore in Tateyama during a typhoon. Anyways, Kiryu Goji doesn't really have that much of an origin other than possibly being the son of 1954 Godzilla, but that's all theories and stuff. So, I've been the Chem Guy. Have a good Christmas and peace out.
So LizardBoyG kind of locked me in his basement, and the only way I can get out is if I talk about the origin of Godzilla 2004. This version of Godzilla first appeared in 1954, after a series of nuclear testing had unfortunately disturbed the beast's slumber. He grew angry from the nuclear testing and decided that the best course of action was to declare war on humanity. He's an angry elf. In the years following, Godzilla would battle the Earth Defense Force, or EDF for short, a military group designed to combat the threat of monsters around the world. At some point in the 21st century, a crew aboard the Gotengo, a massive superweapon built by the EDF, lured Godzilla to the Arctic. The crew managed to trap Godzilla in the ice. Godzilla would remain trapped in the ice for years, until the year 20XX, when he was released to combat an alien threat that was plaguing the planet at the time, and had killed almost every single human on the planet, the Exilians. That's basically all I have for the origin of Godzilla 2004. Thank you, LizardBoyG, for having me on, and Merry Christmas to y'all.
Hi everybody, and I'm back. This time I'll be telling you guys that the origin story of the king of the monsters that rules over all the titans in the Monsterverse, Godzilla. So, let's get started. Godzilla, or also known as Gojira in the 2014 film, is presumed to be thousands of years old in the comic Godzilla Dominion, debunking another theory by E.G. Serizawa that Godzilla was millions of years old and actually experienced many extinction level events. Later in Godzilla's life, before the set time of the Monsterverse, we learned that an ancient rivalry between the Titanus Gojira and Great Ape species, but we do know that he lost one of his homes to what is referred to as the Rival, who is a powerful Great Ape that single-handedly kicked Godzilla out of his own turf and wasn't able to return until after King of the Monsters, where the ape has long died out. We also know about a rivalry between the Godzilla species and the Muto species. Sometime after losing one of his territories to the Rival, Godzilla would go under a sort of hibernation, going under a long slumber just like the other titans in the Monsterverse up until 1954, when the USS Nautilus nuclear submarine would hit the ocean floor and awaken. The US would make multiple attempts to put Godzilla back into his slumber, disguising these as nuclear tests up until in 2014, when Godzilla would rise once again to take down the Mutos and stop them from overpopulating and taking over the planet. Anyway guys, that's all for Monsterverse Godzilla's Origins for now, because again, it could get updated with Supernova and stuff like that. So now I'm going to leave Billy the Monster Boy to explain the other Godzilla of the Monsterverse, Dagon.
Hey, what's up everyone? So you guys might recognize me or not, because this is my first time being on LizardBoy's channel. So anyways, my name is Billy, aka Billy the Monster Boy, and today we're going to be talking about the origin story of Dagon. So before we get started, I'll show you guys one fact about Dagon, is that he did first show up in Godzilla 2014 as a skeleton, and appeared in the comic Godzilla Aftershock, where he fought Muto Prime, and he died. Yeah, pretty sad death. So anyways, let's not waste any time, so let's get started. In Godzilla, Dr. Ishiro Serizawa describes Dagon's remains as a fossil of another giant animal in the Philippines. Like Godzilla, monarch agents in Godzilla Aftershock avoiding calling Dagon and Godzilla members of the same species despite their physical similarities, instead using paraphrasing like Godzilla-type creature. When Serizawa questions whether Dagon is an ancestor of Godzilla, Dr. Emma Russell replies, "It's possible. Let's not forget how little we know about this life cycle." Monarch's superspecies profile for Muto Prime appears to be in conflict Dagon and Godzilla, saying records of the encounter between the Muto and Godzilla have been difficult to find, limited to intricate paintings on an ancient Phoenician stone tablets. Tweets posted by a Legendary Pictures official Twitter account during the 2020 Monsterverse watch-along, avoiding linking Dagon with Godzilla, simplifying describing him as a host titan or a massive titan skeleton. The graphic novel's author, Arvin Nelson, treats these two titans as a member of the same species, but also has to acknowledge that I am not the best source of Monsterverse canon. Take anything Legendary says over anything I say. And I would like to say thank you so much to LizardBoyG for inviting me for this video, just to share you guys some cool facts about this monster. So yeah. And before I go, I would like to say Merry Christmas and Happy Early New Year's, everyone. And also, please subscribe to my channel, just to give me some love and support. So anyways, farewell everyone.
Hey there everyone, my name's Always, and today I will be covering Godzilla's origin stories. LizardBoy is currently making new Christmas specials, and he invited me to do Shin Godzilla's part. Thank you LizardBoyG for inviting me to do this. Anyways, without further ado, let's get started. Shin Godzilla starts off in his first form, just a normal sea creature that eventually ends up stumbling upon nuclear waste just 60 years before the present day. Eventually, over time, it grew, and became its second form, with its tail emerging from Tokyo Bay and allowing Japan to witness its first appearance. It washes up ashore and comes onto the land. Many citizens evacuate, as Shin Godzilla descends further into Tokyo, causing destruction. Within a few minutes, however, after causing desecration in Tokyo, Shin Godzilla starts to evolve in his third form, causing his body to mutate in the middle of the city, growing taller, sprouting arms, and standing upright before continuing his destruction in Tokyo as he runs through buildings. Throughout the entire film, however, we are introduced to Shin Godzilla's fourth form, after arriving in Kawikara. His appearance is much different this time.
attaining a really long tail, growth in height, and of course, various abilities. Shin Godzilla is ultimately defeated in the end though, due to being frozen in state, with his fifth form barely catching a glimpse, and is something we may or may not ever see. And that is all. Thank you so much LizardBoyG for inviting me to do Shin Godzilla's Origin. And to everyone else, Merry Christmas. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. See ya.
Hello everybody, and I'm back to talk about the anime trilogy Godzilla, Godzilla Earth. Now, unlike other Godzillas that are either ancient creatures turned into beasts or just ancient creatures in general, Godzilla Earth is actually made up of plant life, being the end result of natural selection on Earth. Then, using the process of horizontal gene transfer, Godzilla Earth evolved beyond that, granting him a bunch of random stuff like extreme durability and heat resistance. And I'm also going to guess that it granted him his insane height, with him being one of the biggest Godzillas in the franchise. Yet, that's about it from what I could find from the Wikizilla. Anyway guys, that was Anime Trilogy Godzilla. Now I'm going to tell you guys about the other anime, Singular Point Godzilla. So I'm back to talk about probably the hardest Godzilla to talk about because nobody else wanted to do. We got Singular Point Godzilla. Now, unlike other Godzillas that are made up from radiation stuff, this Godzilla is actually made up of singularity. Basically being some like outer versatile thing, making Godzilla a physical extension of an omnipresent extra-dimensional entity. So basically Singular Point Godzilla is an extension from our universe and ours that is... It's really confusing. Okay, I'd recommend going and watching another video. Yeah, I tried my best, and I hope you guys enjoyed my explanation from a non-professional. Anyway guys, I'll leave the final Godzilla to my friend Zoomer, who will be explaining Godzilla Minus One.
Hello everyone, Merry Christmas, I'm Zoomer, and I make a variety of content like VR videos, Godzilla debates, custom Godzilla sounds, and Kaiju Risen videos on my YouTube channel, but I don't really post much anymore. Lizard invited me to this special, so I'm going to be explaining the origin of Minus One Godzilla. In the film Godzilla Minus One, Godzilla doesn't start off as a 50-meter angry lizard. Instead, he's depicted as a creature that lives deep in the ocean and around small islands, and it's stated by one of the mechanics that once fish start floating on top of the ocean, Godzilla is near. The reason why this happens is because the deep-sea fish try to swim away from Godzilla so fast they end up killing themselves, which foreshadows the end of the film. Now, at this time, Godzilla doesn't really have a hatred for humans, even sparing Shigeshima in his introduction since he was no threat to him. When the mechanics encounter Godzilla for the first time on Odo Island, he's much smaller, only being around 15 meters tall, and we know he has regeneration, but it's likely more slower because the scars on his body could be explained as the regeneration not being perfect, given we see scars on his body post-regeneration after becoming true Minus One. He also doesn't have an atomic breath and doesn't act on pure malice, only attacking the men once they fire at him. However, Minus One's mutation and malice for humans start once he's accidentally struck by what is implied to be Operation Crossroads, which, for those of you who don't know, is one of the nuclear testings the US carried out on Bikini Atoll. But instead of dying, the radiation caused his regeneration to go haywire and not stop, adding layers and layers onto his body until all of the radiation in the surrounding area was absorbed, thus forming the kaiju that's in Japan into Minus One. Anyways, that's it. Thank you so much for having me, and Merry Christmas, everyone.
And there we go. That was every Godzilla origin story in one video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. It was so much fun being able to collab with all these YouTubers, with extra thanks for actually joining. Yeah, I also want to say thanks for you guys for watching this year's Christmas special. I had a lot of fun working on this one than last year's, and I'm really proud of how this video specifically turned out. It's easily my favorite video I've ever made so far, and I really hope it shows. Anyway guys, I wish you all a Merry Christmas. I hope you guys enjoy your presents. As you guys know, it's Christmas Day, and I hope you guys found time to watch the video today because, you know, it's Christmas. And everybody said Merry Christmas. It'd be weird if they said it right after. Anyway guys, Merry Christmas, and enjoy the rest of your day. Have fun with all your presents and stuff, and as always, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.